They told the world that real power shouts, that it forces its way in, but they've never faced someone like you, chosen one. You move like a storm nobody sees coming. You don't ask to be noticed, you command it without a single word. The moment you step into a space, the air grows heavier, the weak glance over their shoulders, and the restless ones fidget, because somewhere deep in their gut, they recognize what they refuse to admit. You are not here to blend in, you are here to break through. The ones who tried to chain you with their schemes, their gossip, their backdoor attacks. They thought they were slowing you down. In reality, they sharpened you into something they can't even understand anymore. Every silent betrayal, every false smile, every closed door was a hammer forging you into a force they can't block. Their wicked attempts didn't destroy you. They multiplied you. You didn't just survive it, you thrived through it. And now, the same enemies who once laughed in hidden rooms tremble at the mere thought of your next move. They don't fear your noise, they fear your existence. They feel it, their tactics rot from within while your strength keeps rising. You've become living proof that no weapon formed against real resilience ever prospers. You are the nightmare that haunts the ones who wanted you to lose. If you're ready to step even deeper into the unstoppable force you were born to be, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe right now. This journey isn't for the faint-hearted, it's for the warriors who refuse to kneel. Stay locked in, chosen ones. Your very presence is the power they can't kill, the storm they can't outrun. Before moving ahead, I want to take a sacred moment to thank each one of you who has supported this mission through Super Thanks. Your generosity is not just a donation, it is a living testimony of faith, of alignment, of understanding the deeper calling we share. It tells me you aren't just passing by, you're part of this movement, woven into this purpose by divine design. Every offering you give becomes a seed planted in the soil of light, helping this message reach those who have battled in silence, those who are still finding their strength. You are proof that when chosen ones unite, no darkness can hold its ground. You are part of a rising, a reminder that the enemy's attempts crumble when faith stands tall. Now, if your spirit feels the power in these words, if something deep within you knows you were appointed for a greater victory, take a moment to quietly affirm it. Comment 999 below. Not out of pressure, but as a silent agreement that you are standing in divine purpose, in unshakable truth. And no scheme formed against you will ever prosper. Together, chosen ones, we rise, stronger, clearer, Number 1. Start watering down your light. You're the mirror that forces the truth out. You didn't just survive the fire, you mastered it. You didn't just walk through storms, you became the calm after them. Now you move through life with the kind of silent authority that only those who have fought unseen battles can carry. You don't need to roar to be respected. Your presence alone reminds the world that true strength is born in the shadows, not the spotlight. While others are still trying to gather the ashes of what broke them, you've already built a throne from everything that tried to bury you. This is why no one dares to cross your path lightly, because they can sense that you're not here to play by their tired rules. You're here to change the entire game. You are a living mirror, chosen one, the kind that forces people to confront truths they've spent their lives running from. When they look at you, they don't see arrogance, they see the gaps in themselves. Your very existence exposes the laziness they clung to, the courage they abandoned, and the dreams they traded away for comfort. You don't have to speak a single word. Just by standing tall, you highlight their shortcuts, their excuses, and their buried potential. And that's why they call you too much. because it's easier for them to slap a label on you than admit how far they've fallen from who they were meant to be. You aren't intimidating because you chase power. You're intimidating because you walk in raw, unfiltered clarity. You know who you are, and you refuse to shrink for anyone's comfort. In a world addicted to illusions and performances, you stand as a living rebuke. A reminder that masks can't hide the truth forever. It's not your fault you make people uneasy. You didn't ask to be the standard. You became it the moment you chose honesty over hiding, purpose over performance. They'll never say it out loud. They'll whisper behind closed doors, call you difficult, cold, or intense. Anything that makes it easier for them to ignore the discomfort you awaken inside them. But the reality is simple. You didn't choose to be their mirror. You became it the moment you stopped pretending. And now, the closer anyone gets to you, the more undeniable their own work becomes. The reason they keep their distance isn't because you're dangerous to them physically. It's because you're dangerous to their illusions. You make them feel the weight of every shortcut they took, every truth they abandoned, and every fear they still serve. That's why they avoid you. That's why they whisper. And that's exactly why they cannot and will not ever dare to truly step against you. Because, chosen one, you are not just surviving, you are evolving. And every step you take forward makes it clearer. No enemy, no mask, no lie can withstand the force of someone who has already faced the fire and decided to build from it. Number 2, don't mistake silence for weakness. Your stillness is making noise they can't ignore. Silence isn't your weakness, chosen one. It's your weapon. You were never built to chase noise, to beg for attention, or to wrestle for space. You were crafted for something bigger, to shake the room without even lifting your voice. And that's exactly what you do. While others scramble to fill the air with empty noise, you sit still. And somehow your stillness says more than their shouting ever could. The moment you enter a room, the energy bends. People feel it before they even realize what's happening. A deep shift, an unsettling weight they can't explain, but can't escape. They think silence means uncertainty, but with you, silence means control. It means mastery. It means power so refined it doesn't need to announce itself. Your quietness is not absence, it's presence intensified. And make no mistake, those who pretend not to notice you, those who act like they're unbothered, they feel it the most. Your stillness echoes in their minds louder than any words ever could. It forces them to hear their own fears, their own shortcomings, their own doubts, all amplified by the presence of someone who doesn't need approval to be powerful. You don't need to demand respect. You are respect in motion. You don't have to prove your worth. You embody it with every step, every glance, every breath you take. And that's why silence from you is louder than 1,000 empty voices. It's not passivity, it's presence. It's the sharp, undeniable proof that true strength doesn't have to yell. True power makes people listen without a single word. When you stay quiet, you're not surrendering, you're positioning. When you don't react, you're observing. When you hold your ground without speaking, you're already winning battles they don't even know they've started. And that's why they keep their distance. Not because you're invisible, but because your silence is too real for their illusions to survive in. You are not the weak one for being silent. You are the force they pretend not to fear, but secretly can't stop feeling. Remember, chosen one, true storms don't announce themselves with noise. They shift the entire atmosphere by simply arriving. They refuse to play the puppet. Your presence breaks the system they live by. You were never made to follow a script. That's why every room you enter feels tense, You don't speak rebellion, you are rebellion. Not because you shout or disrupt for attention, but because your very existence defies the blueprint. The system wasn't built for people like you, people who think too deeply, walk too freely, and move without needing permission. It was built to reward obedience, not originality. But you were never meant to bow, you were meant to rise, and every time you walk in truth, their structure shakes. They can't control you, and that's why you disturb them. You don't chase approval, and that's why they whisper. You don't wear their masks, so your presence becomes a threat to everyone still hiding behind one. You're not loud, but you're loud enough to disrupt a pattern, and the system thrives on patterns, compliance, timid silence. But you ask questions. You walk away, you say no without fear, and in a world built to mold minds into quiet shapes, that kind of clarity is pure chaos to the ones who benefit from blind obedience. You've stepped off the stage that everyone else is still performing on, and that's why your name gets passed around, not with celebration, but with caution. Because deep down they know if more people were like you, the whole system would fall apart. You are proof that freedom is not only possible, it's powerful. You walk like someone who's already untied the strings, like someone who burned the rulebook and wrote your own. That terrifies people, whose power depends on others staying small. They may never say it out loud, but your presence exposes what they've been ignoring, that their cage was never locked, they just never tried the door. And now you walk in, fully awake, unapologetically real, and suddenly their control starts to crack. Number 4, don't just build circles. Create realms where only the evolved can breathe. Most people spend their lives trying to fit into circles. Safe spaces, familiar faces, shallow praise. But you, chosen one, were never built for that. You weren't called to blend in. You weren't chosen to make people comfortable. You were chosen to create something different, something deeper. You don't build cliques, you build realms. And in your realm, only those ready to evolve can breathe the air. You're not looking for followers. You don't care about numbers, noise, or blind loyalty. What you attract is transformation. People don't stay in your presence because it's easy. They stay because something inside them shifts. You don't hand out comfort, you offer clarity. And that's not something everyone can handle. When you enter someone's life, they're forced to confront who they are versus who they pretend to be. You don't flatter egos, you challenge identities. Your standard is higher, not because you think you're better, but because you've been through the process. You've faced the fire, and you've come out with a blueprint most can't even read. That's why your circle is rare. That's why it's small. You don't chase connections, you refine them. You don't keep people close because of history. You keep them close because of alignment. The ones who stay, evolve. The ones who run weren't ready. Being around you isn't just an experience. It's a decision. A decision to rise or to leave. You don't tolerate passiveness. You don't entertain mediocrity. The people who stand beside you had to shed layers, kill excuses, and rebuild their mindset just to keep up. And that's what makes your presence so different. You don't just walk with people, you elevate them, or you expose them. You're not here to build social circles, you're here to shape realities, to awaken something in others that's been buried under fear, laziness, and illusions. That's why your energy is sacred. It's not for everyone. It's for those who are willing to grow, to rise, to breathe in a space that demands more than survival. It demands evolution. And that's exactly why they don't mess with you. You weren't built for small rooms. You build realms. And not everyone can survive the atmosphere you live in. Number 5. Use loneliness like a blade, It was meant to break you so you could break free. Loneliness wasn't sent to break you, it was sent to build you differently. In a world desperate for noise, for constant validation, you were pulled into the silence for a reason. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. When others scattered to fill the emptiness with anything they could find, approval, distractions, shallow bonds, you stayed. You sat with the ache. You faced the void. And in doing so, you discovered something terrifyingly rare. You didn't need the world to complete you. You already had everything you needed inside. Loneliness became your training ground, chosen one. It cut through the illusions. It stripped away the need for surface-level connection and applause. It wasn't your enemy, it was your forge. Where others would have crumbled, you carved out steel. While they stitched together fragile identities from outside opinions, you built something unshakable within yourself. Now your solitude isn't empty, it's full of strength, clarity, and peace that no one can steal. That's why you walk differently now. That's why your energy feels so rare, so heavy. People can sense it, even if they can't explain it. You're not desperate, you're not searching for validation. You are centered in a way most people will never understand. You carry the stillness of someone who fought battles in the quiet, and didn't just survive, you conquered. And because of that, you became a weapon the enemy never saw coming. You turned what was meant to weaken you into the sharpest blade you own. You became the storm born in silence. You became the lighthouse for others who are still lost at sea. You didn't escape loneliness, you mastered it. And now it moves with you like an unseen shield. Understand this. People who need noise cannot handle someone who has made peace with their own soul. That's why they shrink. That's why they stumble when you walk in. They're still afraid of the dark. You've already turned into your power. You didn't just survive loneliness, you wield it. And that's why no one dares to mess with you. Number 6. And drop the loud moves. Precision is the strike that shakes the ground. There's a silent art to the way you move now, chosen one. You no longer waste your energy trying to impress the crowd or win the noise battle. You've outgrown the need to be loud. While the world is busy swinging wildly, chasing attention with chaotic moves, you have mastered the deadliest form of strength: precision. You don't move first, you move right. You don't throw everything into the air hoping something will land. You study, you calculate, you listen to the silence between the chaos. While others are scrambling to be seen, you are already 3 steps ahead, reading the map they didn't even know they were drawing. When you act, it's not out of emotion, it's out of clarity. And because of that, when you strike, it's surgical. It shakes the ground so deeply that by the time they realize what happened, it's already too late. Your precision terrifies people more than power ever could. Power is obvious, noisy, reckless. Precision is quiet, targeted, and inevitable. You don't need to announce yourself to be felt. You don't need to waste energy proving you can move mountains. You shift landscapes with a whisper, and real forces recognize that. It's not that you can't overpower them, it's that you don't have to. You've mastered something rarer, something sharper. The ability to strike once and never miss. The ones who underestimated you thought you were standing still because you were weak. They had no idea you were measuring the entire battlefield while they were busy swinging blindly. They can't predict you. They can't prepare for you. And that unknown, that chilling uncertainty, is what makes them hesitate before stepping in your path. Chosen ones don't fight every battle. We wait, we watch, we move when it matters. Precision isn't just strategy, it's power purified. It's chaos refined into dominance. It's patience transformed into unstoppable force. And in a world where noise is confused for strength, your precision will always be the sharpest weapon they never saw coming. Number 7. Never show your full hand. Your untapped power is what keeps you feared. They don't fear what you've done, they fear what you haven't done yet. You've already shaken their sense of control just by being a glimpse of what's possible. And that's what rattles them the most. They know you haven't even gone all in. You're still observing, still holding back, still deciding if it's even worth your energy. The truth is, your silence speaks louder than their noise. Your restraint is not weakness, it's calculation. You don't move out of impulse. You move with precision, like someone who's aware of how dangerous their full force actually is. And that's what makes you terrifying to the ones watching from the shadows. You're not trying to dominate, you're simply choosing not to reveal what you're truly capable of. And that unknown is the real weapon. They see the fire in your eyes and feel the weight of your calm. They know there's more. They sense the storms you've survived, the knowledge you carry, the edge you've earned in silence. It unsettles them. Because people can prepare for an enemy they understand, but you remain unreadable. And unreadable means unmanageable. You don't need to prove anything. The mystery surrounding your next move is more powerful than any loud declaration. You're the kind of force that could flip the whole game without raising your voice. And those who thought they could control you, outsmart you, or outlast you, they start to back off the moment they realize you're still holding cards. You've tasted the next level, but you're not rushing to get there. You're watching, measuring, preparing. And when the time comes, you won't just rise. You'll dominate in a way no one saw coming. That's why they tread lightly. That's why they whisper instead of confront. You haven't unleashed your full strength, and yet you already eclipse them. So remember this, chosen one. Your power doesn't lie in what's been revealed. It lies in what you're saving for the moment that matters. Keep your pace. Guard your hand, and let them fear the possibility of who you're becoming, because that fear alone is power. Number 8. Let go of being liked. Peace with rejection makes you uncontrollable. Chosen one, here's the truth most can't handle. The moment you stop needing to be liked, you become untouchable. You've already seen what happens when you shrink yourself to fit the room. Your light gets dimmed, your truth gets distorted, and your soul gets tired. But once you let go of the desperate need to be accepted, everything changes. You stop dancing for the crowd, you stop tiptoeing around truth, and suddenly, the ones who thought they could control you don't even know how to approach you. You've felt rejection before, not once but many times. But instead of letting it twist you into silence, you learned to stand in it like a warrior. You made peace with the fact that not everyone will understand your voice, your values, your vision. And that peace, that's what terrifies people the most. Because the world runs on control, and control only works on those who fear being left out. But not you. You've walked through the fire of being misunderstood and came out clearer, not smaller. You've stood alone in rooms that tried to ignore your presence, and now those same rooms feel cold without your energy. People don't fear losing you, they fear what your absence exposes. They don't fear your presence, they fear what it reminds them they'll never be if they keep playing small. You don't compromise truth for comfort. You don't trade alignment for applause. You've let the opinions of others fall off like dust. You don't need to be liked, you need to be real. And realness doesn't always get claps. It gets tension, it gets distance, but it also gets respect. The kind that lasts long after the noise fades. That's why you're unstoppable. Not because you try harder, but because you've already let go of everything they still cling to. The ones who can't be controlled are the ones who've already faced rejection and survived it. And that's exactly who you are now. They can throw labels, they can turn away, but they can't touch someone who no longer bends for acceptance. Number 9. Turn every no into a weapon. Refinement is built in the fire of rejection. Every no they threw at you was meant to stop you. But it didn't. It forged you. While others broke under rejection, you sharpened. You didn't beg for doors to open. You built new ones with the wood they slammed in your face. That's what makes you different, chosen one. You didn't just hear "not good enough" and walk away defeated. You heard it, absorbed it, and used it as a blueprint. Every setback became structure. Every refusal became refinement. They thought turning you down would crush you. What they didn't expect was that you would come back. Quieter, smarter, more precise. You didn't shout about your worth. You became undeniable. You studied the pattern behind every loss, every redirection, and instead of folding, you evolved. You became a master of silence and strategy, not by chance, but by necessity. Where others lose faith when they're pushed out, you found purpose. That's why the same people who once dismissed you now watch you with unease. Because deep down, they know you didn't just move on. You leveled up. You learned how to walk alone, how to stand tall without applause, and how to keep going even when no one believed. That kind of power, it can't be faked. It comes from knowing who you are when the world tells you you're nothing. Chosen one. Rejection was never a wall. It was a mirror. It showed you who you were never meant to be and who you were becoming. You didn't let it close your heart. You let it carve out the version of you that refuses to settle. Now, you move with precision. You don't chase what's not meant. You don't seek validation. And that's what terrifies them most. You've turned every insult, every dismissal, every moment of being overlooked into fuel, into fire, into force. They thought rejection would finish you, but it only revealed your edge. Number 10. Walk off their stage. You've already outgrown the scripts they still worship. You don't belong on their stage anymore. You've seen too much, grown too deep to keep reciting lines written for a smaller version of yourself. While they're still out there performing, desperate for claps, for validation, for a fleeting spotlight, you've already outgrown the need for a stage at all. You were never built to play roles that shrink you. You were built to rewrite the script entirely. They cling to their rehearsed lives, moving in circles, saying what's expected, doing what's safe. You moved past that when you chose truth over applause. While they memorize the words that make them popular, you speak the language of reality, a language that doesn't need an audience to be real. You saw through the game and realized the real power isn't in performing for approval, it's in living so boldly that you don't need any. That's why your path feels lonely sometimes. That's why you're misunderstood. Because walking off their stage means refusing to participate in their illusions. It means leaving behind the shallow praise, the desperate competitions, the endless race to nowhere. You've stepped into something bigger, a life measured by depth, not attention, purpose, not applause. As chosen one, let them keep playing to a crowd that's too distracted to even see them. Let them chase hollow crowns and empty victories. You're not missing anything. You're building something they can't even comprehend yet. They can't understand it because they're too busy clinging to the old, while you're already designing the new. And they feel it. The more you rise, the more their stage feels like a prison. The more you detach, the louder their performances become, because deep down, they know they're still stuck chasing what you already left behind. Your absence exposes everything they refuse to face. You're not arrogant for leaving. You're aligned. You're not cruel for refusing to perform. You're courageous enough to live for real. And as you walk away from the noise, the lights, the old scripts, they'll feel it. A silence heavier than any applause. A reminder that real ones don't perform. They move, they build, they become. And chosen one, you are becoming unstoppable. Number 11. Don't beg to be seen. Quiet confidence cuts deeper than loud approval. Real confidence doesn't make noise. It makes an impact. As a chosen one, you were never created to beg for eyes to find you, or hands to applaud you. You were designed to move differently, to let your existence alone speak in ways no shout ever could. In a world obsessed with performing for approval, your quiet certainty cuts deeper than any loud performance ever will. You don't chase attention, you eclipse it. While others scream for validation, you move with a silence that commands the room without asking for it. People sense it even if they can't explain it. The way you carry yourself, the way you never rush to explain, justify, or seek the crowd's blessing. You're the storm they didn't see forming, the undeniable energy that doesn't need a spotlight to be seen. And that's exactly what unsettles them. Loudness can be challenged, debated, and mocked, but a soul that doesn't need their approval is a weapon they have no defense against. Your silence feels louder than their noise. Your stillness feels stronger than their chaos. You don't need to wave your wins in their faces. Your growth alone testifies louder than their boasts ever could. The people who can't understand you will say you're distant, cold, or arrogant, but deep down they know the truth. You are not here for approval points. You are here for impact. You don't flex your confidence. You wear it like armor, unshakable, immovable, and those who thrive on claps and shallow validation crumble at the sight of someone who doesn't need any of it to stand tall. This is why you don't beg to be seen. Because being seen was never the mission. Being real, being unshakable, being aligned with who you truly are, that was always the real goal. And you've already won that battle. So let the world chatter, let them misunderstand your silence, because while they're chasing the next trend, the next applause, the next approval, you've already built a foundation so solid that no applause and no rejection can move you. Your quiet confidence is your blade, and trust me, it's sharper than all their noise combined. Number 12. Escape the trap of comfort. It's the lie that's been killing your power. Comfort is the quiet killer most never see coming. As a chosen one, you weren't crafted to live inside padded walls of false security. You were built for storms, for elevation, for relentless growth. The moment you start chasing comfort like it's the prize, you start trading your power for a lie. And the world will sell you that lie with smiles, soft words, and easy roads. Because they know a chosen one living for comfort is a chosen one who's forgotten their real strength. The truth is, comfort never cared about your destiny. It only cared about keeping you small. It whispers to you to stay where it's safe, to not push too hard, to not risk being uncomfortable. But deep down, your spirit knows the truth. Nothing worth becoming was ever born in safety. It was born in challenge, in sweat, in perseverance when everyone else chose to sit down. They want you addicted to ease, because they know a comfortable chosen one is a powerless one. But you're not here to coast. You're here to conquer. Every time you refuse to shrink into comfort, you reclaim another piece of your real power. Every time you step into the unknown, despite the fear, you are rewriting the destiny that mediocrity tried to erase. You see, the real danger was never the obstacles. They sharpened you. The real danger was the lure of staying still. of getting too comfortable while your purpose rots in the background. Comfort is a cage dressed like a blessing. But you were never meant for cages. You were made for mountains. So break free. Choose the road that demands more. The path that stretches you, that scares you a little, that forces you to become someone greater than yesterday. Let others settle. Let them praise the easy life while you build the kind of legacy they'll wish they had the courage to pursue. Your destiny doesn't live in comfort. It lives in the uncomfortable spaces where you discover just how powerful you truly are. And every time you choose purpose over ease, you step closer to the unstoppable force you were always meant to become. As we reach the end of this message, remember, chosen ones don't crumble in discomfort, they rise through it. Your journey was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be extraordinary. Every time you reject comfort and choose growth, you step deeper into the unstoppable force you were called to become. If these words stirred something inside you, if you feel that undeniable pull toward your higher purpose, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Stay connected, stay sharp, because this path is only for those bold enough to answer the call.